Hello and welcome to SWIFT's African Regional Conference in Accra, Ghana. I'm with Ade Ayeyemi, who's the Chief Executive of Ecobank. And Ade, you're engaged in this roadmap for leadership at the bank. Can you tell me what that's all about?
Over 31 years ago, we were created in multiple countries across West Africa to be an instrument of connecting people's ideas into an opportunity for them. And over time, we now have 33 countries across Africa. We have a banking license. We have 3 rep offices. We also have a banking license in Paris. We have a rep office in London, a rep office in Dubai, and a rep office in China. And all of that come together to create an opportunity for the bank. And in 2015, when I joined, we then said, okay, this is what we've done, but where have we been able to take it to the level where we fulfill our purpose? And we said, we created our roadmap to leadership that said, okay, how do we establish the foundation? Either it is in terms of processes, it's in terms of people, it's in terms of technology, it's in terms of culture.
So let's go back a bit. So what have you done specifically on some of those things, people, processes, culture?
In terms of people, we've actually brought in a lot of people into the firm. We've redirected repurposed a lot of talent within the firm. We've changed our structure. Before, we used to have what we call the twin engine, the domestic bank and the corporate and investment bank. But we realized that the commercial bank is actually the cornerstone of economic development. So we created a commercial bank. We understand that the consumer business is very, very important, very key, which is the whole household sector of the economy. But we also understand that we need large businesses, we need institutions, we need government and financial institutions to be able to drive the economy forward. So we now have 3 levels in terms of our go-to-market strategy: the corporate and investment bank, the commercial bank, and the consumer bank. We had several clusters, we call them, about 8 of them then, but we discovered that 8 clusters is a bit difficult.
Too many.
It's just too many. So we created 4 that is aligned to the strategic position they hold in the various regions. We have Anglophone West Africa, that is headquartered out of Ghana. We are the largest bank here. We have leadership economics. We have Francophone West Africa, which is the whole of UEMOA region, the French-speaking West Africa region, headquartered out of Abidjan. We had we have Nigeria. It's a region on its own, 200 million people, it's very large. Then we have Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa, about 18 countries, and we brought all of them together as one region. And the reason we did all of that is that if you look at the Anglophone West Africa, we have leadership economics. Francophone West Africa, we have leadership economics. Nigeria, we're a systemically important bank. In the Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa, there's no one country where we can say we're the lead. But the strategy that unites them together is we want to be a profitable participant.
Okay. All right. So that's where we've got to with this roadmap. And where are we still to go to?
Not all kids have the opportunity to open accounts, so the financial inclusion is important, it's key, we need to drive that. The small and medium-scale enterprises is critical, we need to continue to drive that. Some of those things will be driven as a result of macro movement in terms of continental free trade area agreement being signed. We need to get a lot of push behind that. We also understand that we have 54, 55 countries in Africa, but we also have a big country that is outside, which is called the diaspora, that we need to connect to the continent.
For remittances. Yeah.
When we started in 2015, we have 10 million customers. We currently have 20 million customers. We need to be able to touch 100 million customers. That is where we're going.
All right, now what we've seen over the last few years is we've seen a lot of Western banks pulling out of Africa, haven't we? And we've seen a strong growth in banks like yours, regional players. Do you think that's the future for banking in Africa, these strong regional players like Ecobank?
Strong regional banks, strong local banks, both operate with global standards. We should not dilute the standard because we are local. We should not dilute the standard because we are regional. We will need to have strong regional banks. But we also need to then become the connecting pipe to the international banks that allows Africa not to be isolated. An isolated continent on its own cannot develop. We still need the connectivity through the pipe of the strong regional banks and strong global banks connecting to the world economy.
Now, obviously, key to the success of any bank now, and Ecobank's done a lot in this direction, is obviously getting the digital platforms and products right. So, and I know you've got an excellent mobile app, so start perhaps with the mobile app and then take us through some of the things that you're doing on the digital payments front.
The people that we need to reach are many. The opportunity to reach them in terms of physical infrastructure is very limited. And therefore, it is central that we are able to reach those many people using what they have already, the asset they've already invested in, which is the mobile. The bank needs to have a point of presence on the phone. Today, we have close to 10 million users on that mobile. But that is not all. You need to create a platform through which other people can also use our services. Not only people that are customers, but people that also want to sell their services. If you look at the small fintech players in the continent, what they need is a banking platform that allows them not to have to start from the basics every time. And those are the things that we're enabling to happen.
So, I mean, do you have a lot of arrangements with Fintechs? You know, you see them perhaps more as a party to cooperate with than a competitor, or perhaps you see them as both?
We see them as a competitor in a way, but we also see them as people that we need to collaborate with. Because the problem that needs to be solved cannot be solved by one person. When the government builds roads, they don't buy all the cars that ply on the road. They allow other people to put cars on the road because the intention of government is to deliver people from point A to point B. Also, our intention is to get a large number of Africans to participate in this connected economy. And therefore, we can't do everything ourselves, but we enable people, we connect with them, we make sure it happens. They enable our services to be delivered. They extend our reach beyond what we can do ourselves.
Okay, now you mentioned about, in a way, adopting some of the sort of big tech model in this kind of platform banking approach. And we've just seen Facebook come out with this new plan for its own cryptocurrency, Libra. I mean, do you see competition from that sector, and how should the banks respond to that?
First of all, understand it, know what they're trying to do, and see how can that solve the problem of being connected. And once you solve the problem, the banks will have to participate, because ultimately, the responsibility of bank, primarily, to be a place where people save for the future, to be a place where people can actually pay for goods and services, to be a place where people go for advice. That primary role of bank will continue to be there. Now, whether we use Libra as a means of doing remittance, it's like any other currency. It's like either using US dollars or Japanese yen or any other those currencies. We will actually seek as early as possible to engage. We will seek as early as possible to engage. Because if you think about it, 10 years ago, nobody wanted the mobile network operators to be able to do payments. But that was wrong strategy. The right strategy is to say, okay, what can you do? Do it in a way that is properly governed so that you can be disruptive, but don't be destructive.
As we go into this new digital world, all these flows, usage of mobile phone, people become more and more concerned about security and cybersecurity hacks. You know. So how do the banks deal with that threat?
We spend a lot of resources individually as banks to ensure that we can protect the information that people entrust to us, to ensure that we can protect our way of doing business on an ongoing basis. A large component of our technology spend, a large component of our resources that we dedicate is to ensure security. If you remember, in those days, the security used to be the police people that carry guns and protect the vault. Yeah. But today, the vault has shifted from physical location into the ether. And in that ether, the need for protection has not shifted. The only thing that has shifted is move from physical to digital. And the responsibility to invest in making sure it continues to be protected still rests with all of us. Now, it is important for the industry, instead of each person trying to spend money on his own, for us to find a way that we can improve the quality of the cybersecurity at the state level. The banking business is a trust business. If that trust is broken because the information of somebody goes away, the name of the bank is immaterial. It is the industry that gets damaged.
Absolutely. Ade, thank you very much for sharing your ideas with us. Good luck with all your plans at Ecobank.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.